Good afternoon. I am going to do a quick video talking about axe throwing and specifically why we do it at Shrewsbury Prison. Earlier this week I had a message from the team at Prison Storm, which is a Twitter account that follows they have debates around the current state of the prison system, the probation system, probation services and such like that. It's a really interesting Twitter account. If you don't follow it, you should check it out because, like I say, they do have some really good debates on there. Anyway, they dropped me a message earlier this week to ask the question, why do we do axe throwing at Shrewsbury Prison? Specifically because everything we talk about is around education and using the prison to educate people in terms of prison life and what happens behind the closed doors. That's not 100% accurate. It's not all we talk about. Absolutely, a good chunk of what we do is all based around education in the prison system. We obviously run a number of different tours in terms of guided tours, self-guided tours, heritage-based tours, education-based tours, and all of those revolve around and are wrapped around prison life. Everything that happens behind bars, from when you arrive in the prison van, that court process and the journey here, and your entire journey behind bars until release and even beyond. And that's very much the heritage side of our business. There are two other sides to our business as well, one of which is our activities and another is our events. And today specifically, I'm going to talk about the activities. So we run a different range of activities here. We have escape rooms. We have two different themes of escape room. Both play on the idea of being in prison. We have the cell and we have the hole. We also operate axe throwing. And we do two other activities as well, one of which is called Archery Wars, which is kind of like paintball, but with bows and arrows, and it's done with soft-tipped arrows. And we also do eye combat laser tag, effectively, which is really high-tech laser tag. Now, most of these things, apart from the escape rooms, which actually are in the building behind me in the cells, they are based in cells. All the other activities, however, happen here at the back of the site, in what used to be the workshops and the chapel and the sports hall and visits. I guess the question is, why do we run it, or why do we feel it's okay to run that inside a heritage-led tourist attraction? And it's a very good and very fair question. The answer is our business would not survive as a single strand heritage attraction. It just wouldn't. It needs other things. Not to mention the buildings are spanning across 2.5 acres, and therefore we've got a plethora of space and need to come up with different ideas of what we do. Now, not all of those are going to play on the prison theme or what happens behind bars. And axe throwing is a great example of that. It's a market that has been growing. It's starting now to plateau, and we're starting to see where that level's going to be. But it is quite a popular activity, and it's something that we felt we could deliver, and we could deliver very well. We actually expanded it, not just to do axe throwing, but also to do what we call angel throwing. So angels are actually these things, which basically, as you can see, is a four-pointed angel shape, effectively, with a fourth point at the bottom. They're completely blunt. There's no sharpness to them whatsoever, so I can run my hands over them, and there's no danger of getting cut. These are really good because they're really useful for a younger age group from sort of the age of 10, 11 upwards, because they're really easy to throw, they're really light, they're really small, and you can't do any damage with them. So those are something we operate, and then on top of that we do axe throwing with what you'd expect, which is normal axes. Again, they're completely blunt, there's no sharpness to them whatsoever. They go into the wood or go into the targets purely based on weight. You'll see the lanes that are behind me. And I'm not going to go too much into how it runs. The reason that we do it, it's entertainment. That's predominantly what it does. People come here to do axe throwing, to have an enjoyable time, to entertain themselves, or we entertain them with it. We do different target-based activities. We do different card games. We'll poke pictures up on the target so that people do that, competing with one another. Friends come and do it in groups, families come and do it. We have couples come and do it at varying different ages. It's not unheard of for us to have couples in their 60s coming to do this. We obviously do a lot of groups in terms of stags, hens, birthdays, corporates, and such along those lines. So the reason that we look at it in terms of it being suitable or connected to the heritage attraction is for every activity you book with us, you get a self-guided tour of the prison. Now what that means is some people will come and do axe throwing that wouldn't come and visit the prison. They might never buy a ticket for the prison, but they will come and do axe throwing. But as soon as they do axe throwing and the ticket includes a self-guided tour of Shrewsbury Prison, they will naturally go and do it because it's included, and that's exactly what happens. So what we're actually doing is we're reaching a much wider demographic by utilising different activities and interests to different people to bring them onto site. So yes, the root cause or the root reason that they come here might be because they want to try axe throwing, but they then stay and do a self-guided tour of the prison, which also means they do things like visit the restaurant. But when they're doing a self-guided tour of the prison, it suddenly opens their eyes to something they've never seen or never even thought about before. So actually, I would say that we're enhancing and expanding and growing the reach of people coming to visit the prison by bringing in these different activities. Now, of course, there's going to be a line in terms of what activities we bring in. And this one is probably quite close to that line. I'm not going to lie. But we feel it works. We think it's appropriate. It certainly fits. It's quite popular. And again, like I say, it allows people to not just do the heritage side, but do an activity as well, which is engaging, which is fun. Now, engagement and I guess excitement, but certainly engagement is the route to education. You can't educate somebody that doesn't engage. And the best way of engaging people is to excite them, is to give them something to get excited about. And once you do that, you then get engaged in the education piece. So doing things like axe throwing, specifically doing it first, gets people in a mood and gets people in the idea of going, I want to see what else happens here. And then when we take them around the jail and show them the reality, it's like two different sides of a coin, and they get a really strong visit. And you'll see that from our reviews. So that predominantly is the reason behind it. It's certainly how we would talk about it, and I guess account for it. Not that I have to account for it, but I always want to be open and honest and explain when these questions get asked. So apologies, the video is a little bit longer than maybe it should have been, but I wanted to make sure I gave you a really good explanation behind that. Please do ask any other questions you have. If you want to come and have a look, you're more than welcome. But like I say, it was a fantastic question. Thank you very much for asking it, and thank you very much for listening to my response, and I look forward to hearing your comments.